Friends from the media, good afternoon. Welcome to the press conference. I'd like to take your questions.
谢谢发言人。人民日报记者提问：中共中央总书记。
People's Daily, General Secretary of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China and President Xi Jinping concluded the state visit to Vietnam. This is his first overseas trip this year and also the first leg of the trip to the three Southeast Asian countries, which is closely followed by the world. Could you share more details with us? From April 14th to 15th, General Secretary of the Central Committee of the CPC and President Xi Jinping paid a state visit to Vietnam upon invitation. This is General Secretary and President Xi Jinping's fourth visit to Vietnam in 10 years and the first leg of his first overseas trip this year. While in Vietnam, General Secretary and President Xi Jinping had talks with General Secretary of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of Vietnam, To Lam, met with Vietnamese President Long Truong and Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh, and met representatives attending Chinese and Vietnamese People's Friendship Meeting. The two General Secretaries jointly witnessed the display of 45 bilateral cooperation documents signed between the two sides and attended the launching ceremony of the China-Vietnam Railway Cooperation Mechanism. The two sides issued a joint statement on further deepening their comprehensive strategic cooperative partnership and accelerating the building of the China-Vietnam community with a shared future that carries strategic significance. The visit is a full success, which adds new dynamism to the building of the China-Vietnam community with a shared future and the socialist cause of the two countries, and provides positive energy for regional and world prosperity and stability. This year is the China-Vietnam Year of People-to-People exchanges, which presents a historic opportunity to build on what has been achieved and take the relationship into the next chapter. While in Vietnam, General Secretary and President Xi Jinping proposed 6 measures to deepen the building of the China-Vietnam community. He said we need to elevate strategic mutual trust to a higher level, build more robust security safeguards, expand high-quality mutually beneficial cooperation, make the people-to-people bond more broad-based, carry out closer multilateral coordination, and engage in more constructive maritime interactions. Both sides agreed to firmly strengthen friendship, elevate strategic mutual trust to a higher level, support each other in embarking on a socialist path fit for national conditions, build pillars for more practical security cooperation, seize the opportunity of the formation of new quality productive forces in China and new types of productive forces in Vietnam, to conduct more broad-based, in-depth, and comprehensive cooperation, consolidate the popular foundation of the China-Vietnam community with a shared future, have a closer multilateral strategic coordination, properly handle and resolve differences, and act in the larger interests of China-Vietnam friendship. China will work with Vietnam to implement the important common understandings between the top leaders of the two parties and two countries, renew their long-standing friendship featuring camaraderie plus brotherhood, act in line with overarching goals characterized by 6 modes, advance their comprehensive strategic cooperation with high-quality efforts, uphold international fairness and justice, and make new and greater contributions to building a community with a shared future for mankind. Next one, please.
Hello, Mauro from TVB Brazil.
巴西劳动者电视台昨天，据彭博社消息人士报道，中国已要求国内的航空公司暂停接受波音喷气式飞机。第一个问题是，外交部能否证实此消息？第二个问题，即使没有这样的决定，波音飞机的成本也大幅上升，主要是因为中国对美国实施了反制关税。在这一情况下，中方是否会提高和 巴西航空工业公司这一全球第3大的航空公司加强合作呢？
一个问题。
On your first question, I'm not familiar with the matter. I would refer you to competent authorities for more specifics. On your second question, on the specifics, I would also like to refer you to competent authorities. More broadly, let me point out that Brazil is a heavyweight in aerospace, and China attaches great importance to the efforts of carrying out practical cooperation with Brazil in aerospace and other areas. And we welcome Chinese airliners purchasing airlines from Brazil in accordance with the market principles. Next one, please.
中央卫视记者
China Arab TV is reported that White House released in its latest fact sheet that China now faces up to a 245% tariff. What's your comment?
你可以
I will leave questions regarding specific tariff raised to the U.S. China has stated its unequivocal position on the issue of tariffs on multiple occasions. This tariff war was started by the U.S. China has taken necessary countermeasures in order to defend its legitimate rights and interests and international fairness and justice. This is fully justified and lawful. Tariff and trade wars have no winner. China does not want to fight these wars, but is not scared of them. Next one, please.
发言人您好，中国日报提。
We have learned that the Chinese government submitted to the UN Food and Agriculture Organization the accession document to the Port State Measures Agreement on March 17th this year. The agreement officially applies to China starting from today. This is an important agreement on global fisheries governance. What is your comment? China is a responsible country in fisheries. We attach greater importance to the conservation and sustainable use of fisheries resources and adopt a zero-tolerance attitude towards illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing. Joining the Port State Measures Agreement represents China's action to practice true multilateralism and demonstrates the concrete effort of China to advance global ocean governance and uphold the international maritime order. China will act in the spirit of a community with a shared future for mankind, faithfully perform its rights and duty in accordance with the agreement, and work with the international community to realize the UN 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Next one, please.
Thank you. Question from NHK.
日本广播协会关于关税的问题，白宫的新闻秘书表示，现在中方应采取行动，中方需要和美国达成协议，我们不需要和他们达成协议。中方对此表态有何回应？
这场关税
This tariff war was started by the U.S. China has taken necessary countermeasures in order to defend its legitimate rights and interests and international fairness and justice. This is fully justified and lawful. China's position has been very clear. Tariff and trade wars have no winner. China does not want to fight these wars, but is not scared of them. If the U.S. truly wants to resolve the issue through dialogue and negotiation, it should stop using maximum pressure and stop threat and blackmail. For any dialogue to happen, they must be based on equality, respect, and mutual benefit. Next one, please.
谢发言人，中新社记者提问。据报道，当地时间4月13日。
It's reported that on April 13th local time, the second round of vote of Ecuador's presidential election was concluded. Figures released by Ecuador's National Electoral Council show that Daniel Noboa, candidate of the National Democratic Action and incumbent president, received over 55% of the vote and won the presidential election. What is China's comment? China congratulates President Noboa on his re-election and believes that under the leadership of President Noboa, Ecuador will achieve new progress in national economic and social development. Ecuador is China's comprehensive strategic partner, and this year marks the 45th anniversary of diplomatic ties between China and Ecuador. China attaches high importance to growing its friendly ties with Ecuador and stands ready to work with the new government of Ecuador to advance the bilateral ties forward and bring more benefit to the two countries and the two peoples. Next one, please.
谢谢发言人。北京日报记者提问：我们注意到，开年以来中外人文交流。
Beijing Daily, we noted that since the beginning of this year, people-to-people exchanges between China and other countries have been full of highlights. More and more foreign friends, including an Oscar winner and a U.S. online celebrity, have visited China. At the Osaka Expo that kicked off last weekend, the China Pavilion made a stunning debut. China is increasingly attractive to foreigners. What's your comment? Congratulations on the opening of the China Pavilion at the Osaka Expo. We are also glad to see the pavilion get summed up from locals there. The China Central Council for the Promotion of International Trade has played a leading role in China's participation in the expo. I noticed that the pavilion boasts an exterior design of bamboo scrolls and an architectural landscape reminiscent of a bamboo garden. It debuts side by side the lunar soil samples collected by China's Chang'e probes from the moon's near and far sides and displays the tech products such as the Jiaolong deep-sea capsule and next-generation humanoid robots. I believe visitors will be deeply impressed by the traditional cultural elements and modern tech breakthroughs. From overseas virtual tours to China travel, a growing number of foreigners are visiting China to get a first-hand experience of the country. Latest data show that in the first 3 months of this year, China received 9.215 million foreign travelers, up by 40.2% year-on-year compared with last year. Among them, 71.3% entered China visa-free. This is impossible without China's visa-free transit policy, which allows foreigners to stay longer and travel more in China. It also relies on China's streamlined visa application, buy now, refund now for efficient departure tax refunds, and other facilitation measures that make it easier to visit China. We welcome more foreign friends to visit China in this warm spring. Next one, please.
Yesterday, Brazilian
昨天，巴西媒体报道称，金砖国家贸易部长可能会举行特别会议来讨论美国加征关税问题。中方能否予以证实？金砖国家解决关税问题有何重要性？
金砖国家作为
As an important platform of cooperation for emerging markets and developing countries, BRICS advocates openness, inclusiveness, and win-win cooperation with the aim of realizing common development and prosperity. All BRICS countries oppose unilateralism, protectionism, and economic bullying, and will work together to uphold the WTO-centered multilateral trading system and safeguard global economic stability. On the specific meeting you mentioned, I would refer you to competent authorities. Next one, please.
还有其他问题吗？
Any other questions?
好，那今天
This is the end of today's press conference. Thank you.